Just as long as the story's
I just want to watch it. Yeah, I just want to see how it unfolds. I'm not really rooting for anybody in particular.
Yep.
Then what's the point of?
I just want to see what happens.
Like, isn't that just sad though? Like, oh, let's watch this 20-hour epic.
Maybe
I think
this
that
asshole who gains power.
I think that I like that I
and
don't
just
know.
has. Oh, he had everything. He had a silver spoon in his mouth. Then it was stripped away from him, and then he clawed back and got it, and was worse than the people that were fucking in charge.
Took it from him in the first place.
Who doesn't want to see that? God.
Well, maybe it's a redemption arc in the third one where they had the Holy War, millions of people die, and then he realizes the error of his ways. He tries to redeem himself in some way.
Still, it would hit better if you liked him to begin with. Welcome to A Cast with No Name. We're your hosts. I'm Jay.
I'm Matt.
I'm Coop.
This is episode 88. This episode, we slurp warm blue worm. Fuck that up. God. This episode, we slurp blue worm piss as we review and discuss Dune Part 2. And spoilers ahead, obviously.
Yes.
We're not going to.
We're not holding back.
back.
I'm not going to write down the goddamn time code and then put in another chapter in the.
Yeah. That's too much.
Yeah.
Too much effort.
And if you guys like very little effort, check out our webpage, castwithnoname.com, where you can listen to our entire episode library, comment on episodes, and write to our email. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And as always, thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show. And if you do, please rate us, leave us a like, do whatever. Or follow us, anyway, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dune 2.
Dune 2. Recommended by Cooper.
Yes.
Saint it.
One of your top 5 movies that you have to see on a big screen. It was number 2, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What'd you guys think?
Well, I
match up.
I rewatched Dune 1
Okay. Yeah. Good.
because Christy hadn't seen it. And we went and saw it, so I rewatched that last week. I saw it this past Saturday.
Did you have the same feeling for Dune Part 1? You're like, oh, it's boring. It's long.
I enjoyed Dune Part 1 more the second time watching it.
Okay.
And I think part of it is because I kind of understood what was going on throughout. Like, there was still just random, like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, just random shit things happening that they don't explain, but not a big deal. But I think because I knew what to expect, I enjoyed it more. Still have issues with it, but I enjoyed it more than the first time I saw it.
Right.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
And Christy, she liked it a lot. But
I had the same feeling after watching Dune Part 1 again because I know what's going on. I like the first one better the second time I watched it. And I feel like I would like Dune Part 2 better now that I know what to expect.
Oh, so you like Dune Part 1 better than Dune
Part 2?
Part 2?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were saying.
I'm saying I get the same feeling. If I were to watch Dune Part 2 again, I think I would like it even more than the first time I saw it. Because it's so... Like, even reading the synopsis, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. That did happen. And then, like, who the fuck is that? Oh, yeah, that's right. Who is... There's a lot of characters and lore that you just... Since I haven't read the book and I'm just watching it for the first time, I forget, like, the first half hour of the movie when I'm on the second hour of the movie. Right. Just because there's just so much information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall.
An easy 246, yeah.
Yes, easy. What are your first impressions?
Of the second one?
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. The pace was a little bit quicker.
A little faster, yeah.
A little faster. Yeah. I think some of the issues I have with it are spawned from the first movie. But overall, I thought it was good. My favorite thing about it was probably the sound design. And it's like those little devices they use, like the air breather when they're under the sand, little things retracting and expanding, and then the thumper ratcheting up. Yeah. And then when they're looking through the binoculars and they switch lenses or focal lengths, and it's like a wet, like a... I don't know. The sound design I thought was really, really good. And that's probably my favorite thing about is the sound of the movie. The cinematography is great. But overall, I enjoyed it. After watching the first one again and watching this one, it it makes me want to read the book. One, just to compare it, and I'll watch the other ones. So I don't, right now it doesn't rank up. It's interesting because I'm trying to figure out if it'll turn into a Lord of the Rings. Like once the whole story is said and done, if they keep making these and the quality doesn't fall off the deep end, if it'll be one of those, watch Dune once a year or something like that. But I mean, overall, I thought it was good. I mean, it's really well done.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah.
First impressions,
I knew you guys would like it.
Visually, it's fantastic. I can't say I had never seen anything like it before because, I mean, it did remind me of Dune visually.
Yeah.
More worms in it this time.
Mm-hmm.
More sandworms.
More worms, more better.
Yeah. The scale was bigger in this one.
Oh, huge.
Way bigger than the first one.
Oddly, I felt like they had a lot more money making this movie than they did the previous one. It was weird. But even though the budget was probably similar.
Yeah. I like the story more in the second one. There was just the first one, they're basically setting up the characters and introducing them, and then they get their mojo. In the second one, I thought the villain was better in the second one. Yeah, it was just a better, I liked part two. I thought it was better, more executed better than part one. Just part one was kind of just, I didn't say I did. Part two made part one worse. I'm just saying it made
part one is just a lot of base.
Yeah,
a lot of base. You got to build the base before you can build up.
Part one by itself is not a movie. Part two by itself is not a movie. I mean, it's all right. You couldn't have a 5-hour movie.
Right.
That's not even the issue that I have with it. But I mean, it's hard. So, because when I think about it, I'm thinking about the movie as a whole, Dune 1 and 2, because I have the same issues with both halves. But no, I mean, the music I thought was great. I mean, just the overall score.
Yeah,
I enjoyed. I thought it was really well done. I mean, it had a little bit of the Hans Zimmer stuff, but that's
make the seat rattle a little bit. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I watched it a week ago, and I already forgot most of the plot.
Oh, you want to know why that is?
It's so long. Maybe it's a ploy to get you to go watch it again. I don't know.
I went back and watched the trailers as like a little bit of a refresher before
like, what the hell?
we sat down here today, and there was things that were like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh yeah,
that's right. Oh yeah.
So Coop, you talk about, because I think you were very vague about it when you talked about it a couple episodes ago, because neither of us had seen it. So
yeah, neither of you had seen it, and not many people had had a chance to see it. So of course I didn't want to, drop a bunch of spoilers on it. But I mean, I really liked it. I thought it was a good continuation from the first one. I like the introduction of the story arc for the brother. The brother of Dave Bautista, who comes in, and now he's like
Fahed Harah.
Yeah, however you say it. Yeah, he's like the new badass in town, and just kind of.
His name is Fade Rob.
Yeah,
Fade Rob.
He basically is a well, I don't know. He does gladiator-esque shit.
Yeah.
In the Coliseum.
He's yoked.
It was pretty
Austin
super
Butler took some roids for this role.
That scene was shot with a UV camera too, which kind of
really
infrared. Sorry, UV infrared camera too, which kind of gave it that black white overexposure,
demon eyes.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, which was a real good touch too. Like you said, it demonized it, just makes him look like that much more of an asshole, more of a badass when you're gonna have to combat him. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So actually, while we're on that subject of the gladiator scene and how much of a badass he was, I like how they showed you how tough he was by him fighting in a gladiator ring with two drugged up, huge ass guys, and then the one guy that they leave sober is like a 60-year-old man.
Yeah, and they're still worried about
emaciated and like this is intense. I like that dude is going to fall over from starvation, and this is a big deal. Like that was issue number one I had with that. I was like the setup for that character, and I obviously haven't read the book, so because I thought it was the doctor from the first movie.
Okay.
And it was not. it was some random lieutenant that apparently he was in the first movie. Don't remember him. Okay. So I thought it was the doctor. I was like, wait a minute, I thought that guy fucking died because he was in the room when old man Atreides bit his tooth and expelled the gas or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like if they're trying to build up this guy and he's like an exceptional fighter and everything, it's like,
do they need to be drugged? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I was like, don't have him be drugged.
Yeah.
And like that,
yeah, you're right.
And then have that realization. It's like, oh, I have to fight 3 people. That would be a lot more intimidating, or at least in my opinion, set up his character a lot more than, oh, I got to fight these 2 somewhat heavy set, drugged out guys, and then this really skinny, sober guy. But at least he's 60.
Yeah.
And half starving and everything else. But that was...
Well, I mean,
like
he's aristocracy. You know what I mean? Like they're like, and I guess they kind of have to show that he's like, they're not really going to let him die in combat. Sure,
there's going to be some kind of protection,
but you're right. It does detract from him and from thinking that he's really as tough as he thinks he is.
World setting wise, that makes sense. If he was supposed to be an actual threat, then I think they should have switched it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Or just have 2, like just have the one that they didn't drug be like the biggest one there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would have been a better birthday present than, I don't know, killing
Do you
an
think
old man.
They were setting it up that way so it would make it more believable that Paul would beat him in the end? Like if you set him up to be like this giant badass the whole movie that's undefeatable and...
Well, Paul's a bit of a badass too. He was he had all the hand-to-hand combat with
with Duncan.
Yeah.
Aquaman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin.
Bran
that's
from
who I'm
Goonies.
thinking,
Yeah, Cable. Thanos.
But yeah, I mean, possibly. But then, I mean, just to make, I don't know. I don't know where these stories go. So it's hard for me to, because I guess I'm sure they're not 100% faithful to the books, but is Paul Atreides supposed to be a good fighter? Then let him be a good fighter.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if the guy's bigger. Maybe a Paul Atreides is faster. Use different aspects and to overcome whatever obstacles is in front of him. Just because the guy's bigger than him, I feel like it's a disservice to any kind of tension in the movie when you have a character and he's kind of not set up that way. He's just kind of looks like everything was handed to him. Yeah. And if that's one of the themes of the books, I mean, I don't know. It's not a theme in the movie, so I don't know.
Why did they explain why he wouldn't just like talk in the Bene Gesserit voice and be like, kill yourself?
Yeah, that was something that they really left out until the very end.
Yeah.
Which I would think would be pretty helpful
why
throughout.
I would use that
all the time, nonstop.
That's all I would be. Yeah. I would just be talking in that way the whole time.
Make me dinner.
2 wives.
Chicken sandwich. Crust off.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were just saving it for the end so that's more impactful when he's talking to the
maybe the voice doesn't work on him.
I don't know. Yeah.
The other side of it too is like that was after he drank the worm pee and
the worm juice.
Yeah, the blue carousel, and he
drink.
So maybe he was aware. Like I don't know how much he's aware of that. Like the visions that he saw. He probably already knows that he was going to win that fight. How he goes about it doesn't know. Yeah. But that's going to dive into something else. But
I'm sure.
Well, they make the comment in the movie. I think Josh Brolin is talking to him about like you should be like go ahead and be the Messiah for these folks, and he was like, "Well, all my dreams end in death," or he says something to that effect. So I think he knows that either he's going to die or a lot of people are going to die based on something that he's done, either something he's done or a decision he's made, but he doesn't know where it's going to happen. So it could be him, or he could be leading all these people to death. He doesn't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I do like the themes that this movie tackles, though. I think it's because Paul isn't really a good guy at the end of the day. He becomes the person that he was like dreaming about that he wasn't going to become.
Is he supposed to not be a good person?
I don't. It leads you to believe on the first Dune, and you're like, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be typical. He's gonna like save these people and lead the rebellion or whatever. And then he, like at the end there, it's like, oh, this guy's like, he's fucking over his chick that he's in love with. Oh, and he's going to lead this like holy war now. So,
yeah.
Wait a second. This is what you wanted to prevent from happening. It's happening now.
Very much Darth Vader vibes at the end where he's like,
yeah,
well, let's get on.
Leader of the Fremen.
Yeah. This isn't good enough. We're going out into space and now we're going to get these motherfuckers. Yeah.
These people are conspired against my father.
I'm going to... Well, we can dive down that rabbit hole. We can go into all the problems I have. I have a lot more that I do like. Before I start shitting on it.
Yeah, let's do it.
No, what I'm saying is I like the fact that it took that turn plot wise. I wasn't expecting that.
I didn't buy it as a turn.
Oh, you don't think so?
My biggest issue I have with this movie and Dune Part 1 is there is no emotional connection for me to any of the characters. I did have an emotional connection to under acting. I have Javier Bardem and Zendaya. I think were standouts. Dave Bautista was good in this too. And I think the only reason why those three come to mind is those were the only three characters I really felt anything for. Javier Bardem, I thought was the most likable character. I mean, he had humor. He laughed.
Yeah.
Like he cared about things. You believed that he cared about things. The romance aspect between Paul and Shiana.
I don't know.
Anyways, Zendaya and Timothy Chalamet, their romance was okay.
Sorry.
But and I don't think it's. I haven't seen a lot of movies with Timothy Chandelier, but he's been so dry in both Part 1 and this one. The romance was okay. There was a couple times where I saw him when he was acting. I was like, oh, okay, a real human. But the first Dune movie, I felt like no one acted like a human being. I get it, they're royalty, but there needs to be an emotional connection to, like, I need to know who to root for. And the mother, Rebecca Ferguson's character, at the very beginning of Part 1, I kind of got the sense that she loves her son. Mm-hmm. And then other than like the first half hour of the first movie, the rest of it, I was like, I don't think she loves her son. I think she wants to get power for herself.
Yeah.
Which may end up being the case.
Or her unborn daughter.
Yeah, or daughter is what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Unborn daughter. But then she had a son on purpose because she had an ego to have the Messiah. So if she's kind of doing this whole thing as part of her plan, all right, if that's supposed to be some kind of emotional twist or turn later on in the books or stories or whatever, I don't think it's going to play out well in the movie because I just don't believe she loves her son. And then Paul Atreides, I don't believe he loves anything because he's just so stoic. And I get the whole royalty thing and being proper, but there's no... I don't get the sense that he cared about leaving his home planet. I didn't. He's like, oh, my father died. Didn't freak out. Like his whole world just crumbles around him, and his mother are on the run, and they're both just like, well, we're in the desert now. Nope, we're gonna go hang out with the Fremen. And there's nothing there to like, oh, do these people give a fuck? And I never believed that in Part 1. So when we get to Part 2 and he's saying, oh, I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be a leader. Well, in Part 1, you said already that you were going to save your marriage for a strategic choice because you found out that the Emperor may have been behind this or something like that. Or maybe they didn't find out the Emperor was behind it in the first movie, but he made mention that he was saving his marriage for a strategic choice.
Yeah.
Then he gets to the second movie and he's like, oh, I'm just going to live with the Fremen now. And that's what I'm going to do. I don't want to be a savior, but I'm going to keep doing what my mom tells me to do to be the savior, kind of a thing. And he's like, well, but I don't want to be the savior. Nope, I'm no leader. Even though, I mean, he's not trying very hard if he's not wanting
to not be
that. Yeah. And he's like, oh no, my place is here in the desert, and
Right.
All that stuff. So that whole thing I just don't buy. Denis Villeneuve said, like during the press rounds for this movie, he said that movies don't need quotable lines. And this is just me going on a rant.
They just need visuals. Yeah.
They need visuals. And that is true. However, his movies, I think, need lines to convey something, because visuals enough, I'm not buying any of the emotional buy-in of his love of the Fremen people. I really don't think he cares much about them. I felt like it was a self-preservation thing the entire time he's with them.
And he was into Zendaya, so that helped motivate him to stick with them. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, Zendaya. Oh, I like Zendaya, so I like the Fremen people. No, she's gorgeous, so of course you like her. Like, she's the only, like, one of two attractive women in the desert besides your mother. So of course that's, I mean, so it's not like he's mingling with the people. You don't see him getting along with, like, really fitting in as a family. It's always just him and her
off,
and then and he's taking a very active role in the fighting without any real reason of him fighting. And it's like, oh, well, I want revenge. Well, but then you said other times that you don't want revenge. Like, it just contradicts so much, which characters can contradict themselves, but I don't buy it. And I think that's the main issue between both these movies. I'm not sure who to trust. And maybe that's a thing in the book. I don't know. And but from what I read online, everyone's like, oh yeah, and Paul Atreides like became the man and the leader, and like, I don't think he's a good person. Like, and if he's a hero, and maybe that's the thing, if it's supposed to be a downfall character, you need to love him and believe in him to begin with, especially since I know nothing about this overall story. If he turns evil and you're not supposed to like him, then it's like, well, duh, I saw that from the very beginning. And so there's no twist. There's no emotional, like, turning point.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just counting on you rooting for the underdog. This kid's had all of his money,
wasn't an underdog.
Titles, wealth, everything stripped from him to the point that now he's living in the desert with a bunch of cave people. And now he's been able to turn it. Now he's coming to one-on-one, hand-to-hand combat with Billy Badass, and now he does have an army behind him, and now he can kind of take the fight to them instead of hiding out on a desert planet.
I think if he was he's never really an underdog though. Yeah, he has everything stripped from him, but nothing is really that challenging. He fights one of the best fighters. He survives. I mean, obviously he has to win, but it doesn't feel like there's much of a challenge for him because everything comes so easy. And I get the whole thing is like, oh, he'll know the ways of the desert and stuff like that, but still have him like fuck up a little bit.
Yeah.
And have him make some mistakes to where even the people that believe that he's the savior, it's not just so, oh yeah, he's a savior and he's never done anything wrong.
Insert a little doubt.
And I get faith and religion is like one of the major themes, but yeah, have some doubt in there. And but there's none of that. It's like everything is super easy. Like and I know the movie spans months and everything, but I think just
did you feel the passage of time?
No, I did not.
It's a big thing that he has.
Yeah.
The only the only thing is,
what was this, a month or a year? How am I supposed to know? It's always sunny out here.
The only indication was Rebecca Ferguson's
her bump kept getting bigger.
Baby bump started getting bigger.
Yeah.
I was like, time must have passed. And
yeah. I did not see Paul becoming, because it's not just at the end where he's like, I'm Paul Atreides, son of blah blah blah, I will avenge thee. It's like he finds out that Grandpa Harkonnen is his grandfather, and he's like, hi Grandpa.
Yeah.
Just stabs him in his neck. I was like, holy, whoa, he didn't even ease up on this. You're just gonna stab this guy in the neck.
Care. I mean, whatever. He didn't know the guy.
Still, didn't give a fuck. And then like he's like giving that speech when he's like, choose your champion or whatever, and he's like talking shit to the Emperor.
Yeah.
He's like, your father was weak.
Yeah.
He's like, pick your champion. Like, he didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he's like, and I want your daughter's hand in marriage. Like, it's like one thing after another. Yeah. I'm like, hold on. He was supposed to be like this kind-hearted guy who was going to like run off into the desert with Zendaya or Shanae or whatever. Yeah. Shanae. And now he's this like mega maniacal Messiah character.
He's been playing
to go to the Holy War.
He's had a plan in the back of his head this whole time.
Yeah, he's like,
and he did save his marriage proposal for a strategic.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing that happened then that was like out of the blue. But I mean, after drinking the worm piss, I get it because he had like a series of visions.
Yeah,
to where it's kind of almost like Gandalf the Gray dies, comes back as Gandalf the White. Same Gandalf, kind of.
Right.
Like that I can kind of get, and that I feel like would have been worked a little bit more emotionally if it was a clear black and white. Yeah, he's more assertive after he drinks the piss than what he was before.
Why is the piss so important again?
Because men can't drink it and survive.
Yeah.
Only Bella Gesserit or Bella.
Yeah.
Benny Jism. Benny Jism.
But Benny Jizzes.
Men aren't supposed to be able to do the voice either.
Yeah.
And so he was able to do that. So I think his mom was kind of like, well, if he can do this much, I bet he can do that also. And so
I think it's all
farce. It all worked out.
Men can obviously do it.
and that's
and the like,
for sure.
We
just don't want you. Yeah.
We're the only ones that can do it because if they get this power,
it's the matriarchy holding us down. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. As usual.
Yep. Just like always.
Just like always.
And that I think, like, because if you're supposed to like Paul Atreides and you're supposed to be rooting for him, and again, maybe you're not supposed to, I don't know, but if you're supposed to be rooting for him, then his choice to become leader should be bittersweet at best, but heartbreaking. Bittersweet at the worst, heartbreaking at the best. Meaning, because you want him to live this other life. You want him to be free, away from all that. But then he has to, not by sense of duty or prophecy or anything, but because he cares for those people is the reason why he rises to power. And that I feel like is the biggest issue that they never really showed. And because, I mean, that's how, it's like Dick Winters in Band of Brothers. Like, he becomes a major just by all the shit he went through. And it wasn't like he's this great military tactician. It was thinking of shit on the fly and just being a leader because someone needed
needed to be one.
He needed to be one. And to where I think showing that growth for him, and then just because the whole movie could have been him dodging it and not wanting it, but then there should have been a realization of, or a certain moment to where he's like, I care for these people so much, and I know that they're not going to be able to survive if I don't do something. And
maybe that's why he chooses to do it.
That should be the turning point, because it's not because he wants to, it's because he has to, kind of a thing. And that makes the character more noble, it makes him more empathetic, and you root for him. And then that's what makes it more painful when he says to Zendaya, is like, oh, as long as I breathe, I will always love you. Mm-hmm. And then he goes and marries somebody else because he's trying to, but at least have those reasonings in his head. Maybe it's explained in the book, maybe it's not, but
maybe it'll be in part 3.
Yeah. His reason for going with the marriage of the daughter is not so he could, he'll become emperor, but it's also so he's not having to fight all the other houses. Mm-hmm. He's hoping the other houses will buy into his ascension, and maybe he can avoid all this.
Yeah.
And if it's a tragic story, it's supposed to be a tragic story, then everything should be done out of love and empathy that he has for these people. And it's just the sheer fact of, it's like the self-fulfilling prophecy curse, to where no matter what he does, it's inevitable, and it just sucks. I feel like that it makes the character more appealing, but character didn't
do it for you.
Well, it just I don't know if it wasn't written or if it's Chandelier
Timothy.
Because I think he's I'm sure he's a fine actor, but I think it was more of direction.
He's just very reserved in this movie. Yeah.
There's no emotion, back to Denis Villeneuve's no dialogue needed. Yeah, Wally was literally a fucking robot, but you believed his romance for Eva more than what this movie did.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's something wrong there. And like, even, I don't know. It's,
it just didn't do it.
it didn't do it.
Just didn't do
I
it
still
for you.
enjoyed it, but
Well, I will say when Timothy Chalamet,
ding dong.
when he gets all angry at the end and starts like screaming, I'm like, all right, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
I was
a
not
little-
impressed by that. Yeah,
Yeah.
And
It sounded like,
it's
like an
so black
18-year-old
and white.
boy.
Yeah,
like,
it did.
Trying to,
Yeah.
there was no
I'm like,
gradual progression. It was just black
Yeah.
and white of, oh, well, I'm just going to be quiet. And like, oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm using my big boy voice now. And this is what, this is what we're going to fucking do.
Oh. Hey, why don't the Benny Jesuit?
Jesuits. Yeah, just say, hey,
Jesuit? No.
Stop.
Benny.
stop.
Or why don't they just rule? Why aren't they ruling everything? They can get people to do whatever they
Do whatever
want.
they want.
I don't understand.
Yeah,
Is that a flaw in the storytelling?
maybe.
I don't know.
I'm sure there's
Why
some
wouldn't
counter that, or they can't. Who knows?
Maybe it takes a lot
Maybe
out
it's
of
a
them or
religious
something.
thing that they can't
Maybe.
just enslave everybody.
I don't know.
The I did like two of my favorite scenes. Obviously, the riding of the worm. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
I like how the details in the movie. I like how he hooks and it's probably in the book, but it's nice that they had those details in the movie. But he hooks the things in there. And he lifts up the little oxygen fins or something to where they keep them up above the surface and all that stuff. That thing that was great. I also like the first the scene where they took down the first Thopter with the rocket launcher.
Yeah.
And they were kind of goading it, and then they had to shoot the machine gun, I'm gonna run and then shoot him when that I liked. And I mean that I felt like was the only scene to where him just like figuring something out and then risking his life to try and further a cause kind of a thing. It just needed more of that.
Yep.
But I like those scenes. Lot of action or a lot of scenes of people running left to right with explosions perfectly in the background. Looks great.
Yeah, very well done.
I'm still trying to figure out the unborn daughter and the mom's conversations.
Their
and
psychic connection.
Obviously, it's for the third film that's coming out, and it's foreshadowing that. But the whole time, I'm like, what's the connection? What am I supposed to get out of this?
Well, she's
What is
the
he
mother
doing now,
of the
mother?
daughter.
Just another.
He's taking power. Okay.
Just another.
Why do
base.
you have that scene in this movie?
They're laying the
now?
base for three.
Right, for the third one.
Yeah.
All right. Like, what does that have to do with what's going on
Nothing.
right now?
Nothing.
All right.
But it'll be a callback later. In
just like,
Dune 3, that'll be a
That
callback.
baby doesn't have a fully developed brain, so what is she communicating
she
with?
know?
Well, apparently, Benny Jesuit women. I guess that's what they are. They are women.
They are women,
age like she's gonna come out like a 30-year-old out of the womb.
Wait, what?
They age
like mentally.
rapidly.
Yeah, like mentally it's going to be like
No, like physically too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's
I didn't
gonna
read
hurt.
that part. Okay.
Like
I've taken some dumps in my time, but I've never had a 30-year-old dump.
Never had a 30-year-old dump. The a guy I work with read Dune, like all the Dune novels. He's like, yeah, they age like their first year they look like they're 18 or 19, and then the second year it's like they're a full-grown woman. Yeah.
Like 2 feet tall or like how?
No, they're like
They like just grow. They grow to full size
And
in,
then they're
in 12
mature.
months.
Like Benjamin Button.
Wow.
in reverse. Yeah.
Huh. All right. We'll see.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
Guess
we'll
who's-
see how they
guess
do
who's
it.
playing her.
Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because she was in
She's in everything.
And everything.
She was in the movie.
Well, yeah. When I saw it, I'm like, really?
Yeah,
Why is she in everything?
because
Is it?
she was already
We're
in the-
hiring two people. All right. Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya,
Yep.
and Anya Taylor-Joy. Those are the only three people that are allowed in movies anymore.
In Anya Taylor-Joy's defense, though, she was already in the desert filming Mad Max.
Yeah,
She was
so they just
walking
stepped
around
over, yeah.
And like, here, just say this really quick and look in the camera.
That's right. Yeah.
She just changes wigs.
Yeah.
Who's filming a movie in the desert?
I really liked the movie, the world building for the culture of the Fremen, like their tools.
Yeah.
Yeah. To survive
the way
in
they
the desert and
harvest
stuff. Yeah.
water from bodies,
Yeah.
and then like their funeral, like their culture and the way of life and everything. I thought that was interesting.
I wish they made a bigger difference between, like, they made a big point of this. Where like, oh, the northern Fremen are going to be easier to recruit than the southern Fremen, those southern, we don't even know if people are alive down in
there.
the south.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I wish they would like, okay, we're going to the south, and I wanted him to be like a distinguishable person from the south versus someone from the north.
Yeah.
I get freedom is like it's like it means something different to everybody. And the Fremen in the north were fighting for their freedom. Like they wanted to be free. Meanwhile, the entire half of the world is just
like,
whatever. Doesn't
shitting in buckets, doing what they want, riding their worms. They don't care.
What's the problem? That's your problem.
I'd fucking go down there. I'm like, oh, just they don't even know people exist down there? Yeah, that's where I'm going to live. And then they just leave me alone.
Yeah, but I think they would probably just keep coming, right? Like the whole point is to colonize the planet for the spice.
Maybe, but they've been there for what, like 100 years?
Like they're gonna come eventually, I would imagine.
Maybe eventually. Yeah, I guess that would make sense.
It's coming eventually.
Nix
it's like, I'll be dead
while you can. It's my grandkid's problem. Fuck it.
I'll be in the corner shitting in a bucket, as Jay says.
Riding worms, shitting buckets.
Riding worms and shitting buckets.
They probably don't shit in buckets. They just kick sand over it like a fucking cat in a litter box.
Probably could.
Probably. But yeah. Zendaya, she's gonna be like Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, or she's just got a baby face.
Yeah.
Until she's 50 years old.
Then age horribly.
Good for her.
Like Leonardo DiCaprio.
I thought, Jay, you touched on Javier Bardem. Like, he had some good lines in there as far as like comic relief, or like Timothée Chalamet is like, no, I don't want to be the Messiah, and he's like, well, the fact that he says that he doesn't want it means that it is him. Yeah.
That scene was good. And I mean, his character had range, or exactly. He portrayed him with his character with ranges.
Yeah.
Opposed to, I was like, why would anyone like Timothée Chalamet? Like, I guess he's good looking, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and also, this is the guy who's been stealing all your spice and waging war against you for the past 100 years, and now they're just like, oh yeah, you can come hang out with us.
Well, not him
worms.
particularly.
His family.
No, not even the Harkonnens.
Oh, the Harkonnens. Yeah, sorry.
His family came
before that. Yeah.
Well, I guess technically his family, because he's the grandchild of the Harkonnen.
Yeah,
but he didn't know that at the time.
I still don't know why the Emperor set him up by saying, "Hey, I want you to go to Arrakis to take the place of the Harkonnen."
And that's the thing. They had one throwaway line, and it was, "Oh, the Atreides family was getting too powerful," and he was afraid of that, so he sent them there.
Was it to destabilize them, because they can't go attack them on their home planet because they're better equipped defensively?
Yeah, and I think it was, he couldn't. The Emperor couldn't just send a couple of families to go against Atreides. It was because that would have been too obvious. So what he did was he kicked the Harkonnens off, and he said, Atreides, okay, you and your family are going to go to Dune. You're going to take over the spice production. And then, because the Emperor knew that the Harkonnens would be pissed and want their money and start shit to take it back over, or leave them with like the crap harvesters and everything else. And he figured the Harkonnens would then come back and take them over. And it would just look like a family squabble between two houses, as opposed to the Emperor being fearful that, oh, the family's getting too powerful, I'm going to do that. So, and the Emperor put up the Harkonnens because they're driven by greed. So he knew that they would play ball. And then, but then, all hell broke loose. So that was a reason. But it was like a throwaway line that they said like once or twice or something like that. And it's like, these movies, collectively, these are 5-hour movies. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff they left out, but I think some of the key points to get the audience, especially someone who's completely unfamiliar with this, give enough background and enough character to want to be invested. Yeah. And Lord of the Rings, I think, did it perfectly well. I read The Hobbit, never read The Fellowship or Two Towers or any of the books after The Hobbit. But you felt for every single one of those characters, and
you feel like Dune didn't do it as well as
correct.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
I can see that.
But I mean, it makes me not like the characters. And if that's the case, it's like I feel like I'm not. I don't trust them, but I'm not like gung ho for them. Like I felt bad for Zendaya at the end of the movie, and that was it. I was like, all right, but I don't trust Paul Atreides. I don't trust his mother, and if I'm not supposed to, okay. As long as I'm not supposed to, but if I'm supposed to be like, yeah,
go
get him, Paul. Yeah, who the fuck am I rooting for?
Yeah,
and maybe you're not supposed to know. Maybe that's the kind of the developing arc.
Maybe
that are we supposed to be now? Are we supposed to root for Zendaya? Are we supposed to root for him and this new marriage to work out so that he can
maybe
not be erased, for his bloodline be erased, or
and that's why I have makes me want to read the book. Because I want to know what the fuck am I supposed to be
what they weren't able to put in the movie.
Because right now I'm just like, I don't know if I like these people. I'm not sure if that's the point. I'm not sure.
Well, Paul's definitely not good at the end of the movie. No. That's what I came away with.
Yeah, he's more.
He's not the hero that I thought.
Yeah, he's like immediately jump in the ships and go fight them.
He could have just held the planet, right? Because without spice, those ships don't have interstellar, can't travel.
But maybe, I mean, if the book,
hyperspace, or whatever. That's what they say in the intro.
Maybe in the book it's more reasonable. So I'm going to read the book and I'm going to see if I'm supposed to be liking this character or
right. Or you could just go to the South, right? Apparently, no one wants to go to the South.
I don't. Well, it's like you don't have to drudge it out through the 3 feet of sand. Just hop in your ship, zoom down there, check it out. If you like it, hang out. If you don't, go back.
For who? What?
For anybody that wants to go to the South, right?
Well, they were already at the South.
The Fremen?
Yeah. That's where he was standing in the middle in that cave, when he started using his big boy voice and. So.
I meant the other, the other people, the colonizers who haven't been there, that are like this, it really shouldn't be that big of a mystery. Just go get in your ship, go down, check it out, come back,
There's a lot going on with this movie that
I don't know how I'm supposed to feel.
I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. I need to watch it again to get the details. But you're right. It's a lot of. It's interesting that he says you don't need dialogue. You need good visuals to tell a story. Or what was his exact quote again?
Yeah, he was like, "You don't need cool one-liners or a lot of dialogue. Movies should be about mood and atmosphere and eliciting a feeling, or something to that effect."
Well, shocking, because that's a lot of what. There's not a lot of dialogue. Not a ton of dialogue.
No.
And I guess during on the press tour for this, because he said if Dune Messiah, which is the second book, and it'll be the third movie, if that script is good or better than Dune, then he'll direct it, and then he's done, which I think you made mention last episode. And he said he went about directing it in a generic way. He's like, I tried to have it as broad as possible, so that way whoever takes it over, it would still make sense.
Okay.
Not that difficult to. I don't want to say replicate, but emulate. There.
Yeah. I don't think he did that.
You don't think so?
This felt very much like it. I mean, it felt like Arrival. Arrival had the same mood.
Yeah.
It was just dour, just this ominous presence of no joy in the world whatsoever. And that's his main go-to. And I'm like,
there's no joy.
And so I think it's going to be, I would like for him to, if they're going to tell all the books, because there's 6 books.
Yeah.
You start a franchise like this, you might as well just bite the fucking bullet and do all the movies. And because I think it'll work better. Because I enjoyed the first 2 movies. I'll enjoy the third one, I'm sure. But theaters haven't had a franchise in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And giving it to somebody else, it's worked sometimes, but most of the time it ends up better if the same person does all of them.
Yeah. Well,
and I think, and he says this was a passion project. I'm like, dude, just do all the fucking books then. Or if you're going to tell the movie version of Dune, do it in enough movies to where it makes sense. It feels like a complete story, and then end it. Because my biggest fear is they get in another director, and it's like it'll be one of those. It's like going to watch T3 or Terminator 3 in theaters. James Cameron didn't direct it, and I remember I went and saw it with my father, and we watched it. We got out of the theater, and we were both like, "There's something missing."
Yeah.
Like it just didn't feel right.
The continuity of the vision just isn't there anymore.
Yeah. And it's something that you can't. It's hard to carry a through line. I mean, it's just it doesn't work. Yep. Same reason that they brought in Zack Snyder to do the DC universe based off of Christopher Nolan's overall vision and direction, which however involved he was in that, which probably wasn't a lot. Mm-hmm. But it was like, oh, Man of Steel wasn't as good as Dark Knight. No shit.
Yeah.
Like, obviously. Like, it's not the same fucking guy doing it. Yeah. And you're going to have different sensibilities and everything else. I just think for overall tone and better overall franchise, they better just start throwing him a bunch of fucking money.
Yeah.
And that's what he could be doing, too, is just planting the seeds of, this is how
you're going to need me later. Yeah.
I'm going to be 100 millionaire when I'm done with this fucking thing.
Unless the script's really good.
Yeah. Even though he's co-writing it. And
that's funny.
Maybe that's how he gets out of it. He's like, actually, the script wasn't that good, so I'm getting out.
Good. Yeah, but you wrote it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not much of a writer. What can I say?
Like I said, I don't like dialogue. Why would you hire me to do that?
Hire me as a writer.
I'm not good at it.
But I think, but I mean, I'm kind of excited to watch the next one.
Yeah, me too, for sure. Yeah.
And I think it's nice that there's another franchise.
Yeah,
finally that comes from something that is a story instead of fucking Star Wars 2.0
shooting from the hip at
here's something and all these other like spin-offs and everything else and just like hashing it out to death and to where
episode 10
6 books
coming soon.
Great, here you go. Here's 6 books of a sci-fi quote unquote masterpiece or whatever. But
you're not excited for Star Wars episode 10?
Is it an episode 10 or is it just a spinoff?
Is it?
I think it's.
I thought it was just a new world, new Jedi Order. With,
they need to
get
away from
Rey,
Skywalker.
Right? With Rey,
Rey Palpatine.
I didn't know is it going to be an episode 10 though.
Oh, I got what you're saying. Is that just reserved for as the Skywalker saga? Since they're dead, isn't it just it's over now?
I don't know. I mean, they can continue, and it doesn't need to be. I mean, Skywalker saga died at episode 6. Let's be honest.
I completely agree.
That's going to make so much money.
What?
The Rey Palpatine movie.
Oh, yeah, here you go. Why Rey Skywalker's New Jedi Order movie isn't called Star Wars Episode 10.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be a branch off, or span off.
Oh, that's going to do so well.
It'll probably be like New Jedi Order Episode 1.
What a terrible idea.
Don't do it.
Don't.
Just stop.
They're gonna throw $200 million at that. It's going to make no money.
No.
No. But I agree. I hope they make Dune Messiah. I'll be watching it.
Yeah, I don't know how many. I don't know how many movies they're planning on doing.
Yeah, and I don't know if I care if Paul's doing it for the right reasons or if he's just going to be a mega maniacal douchewad.
He'll be the new dickhead emperor.
But if that's the case, then
I don't think.
Nah.
But just as long as the story's good.
I just want to watch it. Yeah, I just want to see how it unfolds. I'm not really rooting for anybody in particular.
Yep.
Then what's the point of?
I just want to see what happens.
Like, isn't that just sad though? Like, let's watch this 10-hour movie or like this 20-hour epic.
Maybe
I think this asshole who gains power.
I think that I like that I don't
just
know.
has he had everything. He had a silver spoon in his mouth, then it was stripped away from him, and then he clawed back and got it and was worse than the people that were fucking in charge.
Took it from him in the first place.
Who doesn't want to see that? God.
Well, maybe it's a redemption arc in the third one where they had the Holy War, millions of people die. And then he realizes the error of his ways. He tries to redeem himself in some way.
Still, it would hit better if you liked him to begin with.
Yeah.
And because that's the, I don't know.
Well, and his unborn sister is going to be in it. She's going to be a
maybe she's the redeeming character in this. Like he does kind of all the hard bullshit, but she's the one that comes and liberates the whoever he's.
Kind of helps. I don't know. I guess.
I mean, we just got to see. We just have to watch and see how it unfolds.
I'm gonna read all the fucking books.
Maybe Zendaya just stabs him in the neck. She's like, "Does that remind you of anything?"
Well, I guess in the book, the 4-year-old girl killed Granddaddy Harkonnen.
Oh, really? In the book?
Apparently.
So it wasn't Paul?
She was 4. Which makes sense if they were born as an adult. Yeah, I was like, how the fuck did I'm like thinking about my girls, and I'm like, I was like, what?
She's like 30 at that point.
Yeah. She's got kids of her own by now.
Is it like In Time or something, that Justin Timberlake movie where they just stop aging after 27 or something?
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I have to read the book.
I'm finally going to read it.
I'm sure they have a whole Bene Gesserit chapter where it just gives you the layout.
They have a whole TV show.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, I think it's in, I don't know if it's I forget what streaming station it's on, but it's called...
Tubi?
No. It's got Emily Watson in it, but it's called Dune, the Dream Warriors. No, it's not. It's
Dune 3, Dream Warriors.
Hold on one second.
What if they went south and it was just a bunch of sand people from Star Wars?
They did go south.
They were on Tatooine the whole time.
Yeah.
Jay hates that I keep saying go south.
They've been south. I don't understand what you guys are saying. They were down there.
I mean, like before you knew who was down there. Like they go down there. It's like
they're shaking their rifles up in the air.
Riding the elephants and the woolly sweaters.
They're pod racing around the mountain, and Luke's bitching about power converters, and then they're like, "Oh my god, I feel like we're in a Star War."
What does he say in the fourth one? But I want to go, mama.
No, it's like, but I want to go to Takashi Station and pick up power converters.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Dune the Prophecy.
Dune the Prophecy, it's a book?
No, it's a TV show. It takes place 10,000 years
after the events of Dune.
Before the events of Dune.
Oh, gosh. It's before they
Do you like Paul Atreides? Do you want to see his great? Too
far removed.
TV series set in the Dune universe, which centers on the lives of the Bene Gesserit, and it's supposed to be like the start of the Bene Gesserit.
Nice.
I think.
Okay.
But don't know anything about it. Just says TV series. But I don't know if it's still making it or whatever. But
it's like the Game of Thrones series that they were going to make.
Apparently.
10,000 years before the events of
Travis Fimmel,
the Long Winter or whatever it was.
Like,
you talk about the first.
I don't care about these people. Who gives a shit about these people?
Don't you like Travis Fimmel?
I'm not invested with any of these characters.
Yeah. Do I know who?
Travis Fimmel.
Yeah, isn't he a Viking?
Yeah, he's in it.
And he was in Die in a Gunfight.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about I don't know.
It looks great. Good movie experience.
And
I'll say that.
Yeah.
If the whole point is to make you not like Paul Atreides in later movies,
achieve that goal, right?
Well, sure, but they need to hand the baton off to the person that you're supposed to root for.
It's Zendaya.
Still not enough development to like.
She rode off on her worm.
Yeah, she really wasn't in it that much. Too much. Or like, I mean, there's no development for her character.
No development. Yeah, I would say that.
And that was the thing. There's no like rising conflict between her and Paul.
Yeah, she just got blindsided.
Yeah, it's.
And she liked him to begin with because
he's good looking.
He seemed different.
He knew the Fremen ways. How'd you know to lace your boots like that? Like, you fucking kidding me? Like, there's one of two ways to do it.
Over. Looks cooler like this,
Looks
right?
Cooler like this. Yeah.
How did you know to strap that archway above your ankle?
It's like, well, it was hanging there, and then the piece of Velcro was on the other side.
Belt, lady. It holds up my goddamn pants. Fucking idiot.
What? There's another way to do this? I just thought it was the way it's supposed to go. And he will know your ways, even with.
What'd you say?
Nothing. This bitch is mumbling to herself. She's really gonna guide us. We're gonna go out in the desert and Watching Mind Spice when being attacked by worms. She's mumbling to herself like scripture.
Somebody walks up. It's like, oh, you've been talking to her? She's fucking nuts. Don't listen to her. This is how you do it. Hey, everybody. The new guy's been talking to Crazy Eyes over there.
Did you ask her about the water filtration system?
Listen, she's going to try to stab you with this thing. Claim it's for the water. Watch out.
Yeah.
What else, Jay? You've got a list of things over there.
No, I mean I think that was
it.
I think I hit on everything.
And you're like, I didn't feel anything. I don't know who to root for. Timothée Chalamet is ugly.
I never said he was ugly. He is a very delicate looking person.
Very feminine features.
He does.
Yes.
He's very.
Like if I was going to be gay, he'd be something I'd be attracted to first.
An easy transition.
Piece for me. Yeah. The
Makes sense.
Dip your toes in the water, Jay.
Same thing with Gina Davis. She's a handsome lady.
It's pronounced Gina.
Yeah.
What's up?
So
yeah. I think
that's it.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much it.
I think it's funny that his commentary on visuals and and you don't need dialogue is something that he needs to improve on in his movies.
Well, yeah.
I think he needs some dialogue.
Yeah. Range of
emotion.
characters.
Have the emotion come out a little bit.
Like, maybe I could cry in this scene. No. Why? It's the desert. No water. Okay. Can I laugh here? No.
No water.
No water.
Have you ever seen Sicario?
Yeah.
He directed that too.
Yeah.
The final scene where
I really enjoyed that movie.
I did too. But even that scene, like Benicio del Toro's there and it's just on him, no emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And just shoots the mom and the two kids.
But that's believable.
Then it pans over to the husband, and even the husband's like,
yeah,
no reaction.
Like, no reaction.
You know, like scream or yell, nothing.
Something? Yeah. No, I agree with you. In that moment, I don't think he would. Yeah, it's kind of heartless, but anyway, it's a theme.
But
throughout his movies,
he did Prisoners.
He did
a lot of emotion in Prisoners.
That's very true. Yeah. Take a little bit of Prisoners. Sprinkle that on
in there.
Sprinkle that on Dune,
and because there it worked because. I mean, what Hugh Jackman was doing obviously was not good, but you understood.
Mm-hmm.
And
did you enjoy Prisoners more than Dune?
Uh-oh. I think so.
Yeah, that was another 2.5 hour romper.
The but with Hugh Jackman in that movie, like you liked his character already. Like it was a good normal guy. Something happens to his child, and then he's just kind of like losing his mind, and you could tell it hurts him doing what he's doing, but he's doing it because he wants. Like you understand all the motivations. Mm-hmm. I have no idea what is motivating any of these characters, other than Javier Bardem and Zendaya don't want their people to die.
Yep.
Yeah.
People want spice. That's about it.
Power.
Yeah. I mean, and if their motivation is power, like Paul and his mother, I mean, I can't. There needs to be a redeeming quality, but
yeah,
it just wasn't. That I think is where the biggest failure of these two movies are. Is if that's the case, I mean, I just need to know what the fuck's going on and who to root for. Because I mean, there should be, because that's how you get. I mean, if I'm just like passively watching this. Oh, this happened, and then this is going to happen. Then this is. If you're not emotionally invested in any of the characters, then it's like watching sports. It's fucking pointless. The dumbest fucking thing you could do with your time.
That's what we're here for.
Is it?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
I mean, you're right. It probably won't sway any politicos, but it's something to do.
Yeah. The
spoken like a true man.
But yeah, I mean, so in my opinion, that's just, I don't know. I kicked the shit out of that horse.
Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could see his character going to a like not a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But
Yeah,
it
he
should be
will.
heartbreaking watching that instead of,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I saw that coming a mile away when he was standing there like a fucking mute at dinner or at breakfast table, and she's like, use a voice. He's like, I'm tired. I don't want to. I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be the leader. Your father's fucking dead. Fucking in a tent. We need to walk like this. Well, I'm not doing it right. Oh fuck.
Oh, the walk. I hated the walk.
Yeah.
I don't get. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
You're hot.
You always have to do this little dance every
to-
time.
Hey, can I ride?
Sway like the sand.
The
Just shuffle your feet.
writing of the worm. The writing of the worm scene. So he puts the thumper in the thing.
Yeah.
Waiting for the worm. Like, oh my God, a big ass worm. He asked about this. He's like, oh, yeah, can I ride a worm? And Zendaya's like, no, you can't. And I'm like, he's like, why? He's like, only Fremen can. But I am Fremen. No, you need to actually be born here. That should have been a more impactful thing as far as, hey, because you had no idea what the fuck he was doing. I thought he was going off into the desert again for another 40-day night trek thing because he's Jesus. And they're like, oh, he's trained him well. And I was like, the fuck is he doing? Is he like supposed to be? I thought he was like going to be dodging a worm. No setup as far like that should have been like a breaking point of, oh, these people are accepting me. Yeah, I'm part of Fremen after killing one of their buddies, which is weird. And then, but oh no, we only teach natural born Fremen people how to ride worms. The fact that they teach him that should have been a bonding scene between Paul Atreides and Javier Bardem's character.
Yeah.
It should have been them going off and he's like, what are we doing? He's like, I'm going to teach you how to blah, 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 ride Hadad or whatever they call it.
I'm going to teach you to ride the big worm.
Yeah, big worm. And then he pulls down his pants and it's a completely different movie.
Sounds like we've got some fan fiction on the verge here.
Sequel's called Dune Poon.
It sounds like remember those movies?
Speaking of Dune Poon, how many popcorn buckets did you perverts buy?
Did not.
They didn't have. Yeah,
They show you where to cut the hole out too with the worm face. It's it gets a little prickly though with those teeth if you get all specific with it. But that should have been a nice scene.
Jay, was the girth? Was it a little too big for you?
Girth was a problem. It was like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. But that should have been a great scene as him understanding and maybe even having that be, I mean, then you start changing characters to where maybe Javier Bardem kind of doubts him a little bit, doesn't fully trust him, but then you understand, oh, he fully trusts me when he teaches him how to ride the worm.
Sorry.
And I'm trying to be, no.
I just had this vision in my head of just like a bunch of like teenagers going to the movie just to get the popcorn. And they're in
Here to see Dune? No.
You just hear popcorn like shuffling in the dark theater. It's like, what
the fuck is happening?
Guys, this isn't as good as you said. Did you butter it? No. Oh, that's the thing.
Sorry, I apologize.
But no.
I'm a kid.
But yeah,
I'm a child.
that could have been a nice scene. There was a lot of missed opportunities to be able to. It should have been like Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
Or something like the assimilation into the culture and just that rite of
Some
passage.
emotional connection between the characters.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. Sense of trust. I mean,
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings had that in spades, and I think that's why a lot of people love those movies, is because you know who to root for, you know what the stakes are, and
Took the same amount of time to convey that message too.
Yeah.
3-hour movie.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, anything else?
That's it. That's all I've got.
All right. Well, as far as movies released this year, is this your favorite one so far?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Great,
it's the only
great
movie I've seen
visuals. I
released
mean,
this year.
despite the couple little, obviously Jay didn't like it, the development aspect of it, but I mean, overall, I thought it was a really good movie, and
overall,
the action, the visuals, the scope, the scale, everything was awesome.
yeah, and visual. I mean, like you said, it is very, very well done. It's just the character stuff. I think that was the main drawback, but
Your bugaboo, if you will.
Yeah, and they plan on making more of these movies, and it's tough to. It's like judging a TV show one episode at a time.
Yeah,
it's like, well, this is fucking stupid. Like you're not exposed to the whole story.
Sure.
So that's one thing that I hope is that as the movies progress and you look at the story as a whole, it works and it flows and it's like deserves a rewatch. But as far as these two movies, because it's just a single story with these two movies, overall, I mean, they could have used some of that time to
flesh out a little bit,
flesh out the
better,
characters and motivations a little bit more. But
I enjoyed it more than the Best Picture winner, Oppenheimer.
yes,
If I had to pick one to watch,
I'd watch Dunes more than Oppenheimer. I don't think I'll probably watch Oppenheimer one more time in my life.
Probably.
I'll
give it another shot. Yeah, it's streaming on Peacock right now. I have a subscription.
Oh yeah.
Have you guys seen Poor Things?
No.
I heard it's just Emma Stone getting railed the whole time.
Oh really?
Yeah.
God, that's horrible. Yeah. Where can you stream that? For research
apparently
purposes.
She's like Frankenstein.
Okay.
Frankenstein's monster, and that she has like Edward Scissorhands. Somebody created her.
Okay.
And she's like discovering her sexuality.
She's like a robot.
Like a
Is
person.
that the like?
No,
oh,
she's like a person.
A
like
person that's synthetically made.
Okay.
And she's like it's a journey of her sexuality.
She's like a pleasure model from
I don't think that was
Blade
the intention. Runner. Like she wasn't created for that purpose.
Oh, okay. Her AI is clicking and she's like, oh.
She's like, ooh.
Who thinks of this shit?
Because I think the most, like the clips they were showing during the shows, is the most I've seen of that movie. And it's like looks like Tim Burton-y style, just out there set design. But an American Fiction is now able to be rented on Prime.
I'd watch that.
I want to watch that because before it was like you could only buy it, but I think this past week you
can rent it.
Yeah, you can rent it for $4. So
when I first saw that preview, I was like, oh, that looks good.
Yeah,
that looks funny.
And it has Jeffrey Wright in it.
And he's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Join us next time.
Yeah.
As we talk about the 2023 Feel Good Comedy of the Year, Saltburn, which is currently streaming on Amazon Prime. Is it on Prime?
Yeah.
Prime? Good.
It's on Prime.
So we don't have to pay for it?
No.
Sweet.
Sure don't.
It's awesome.
Yep.
With
Barry Keoghan.
Barry Keoghan. I was going to say Billy Corgan, but I was like, Smash.
Pretty good. I mean,
not.
Phonetically, you were pretty close.
Oh, a little bit.
It's got Rosamund Pike in it, too. Gone Girl.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And a bunch of
She was also a Bond girl.
That's right. Yep. And a bunch of no-name teenagers that just look good.
Just handsome.
They're
handsome
cast.
Kids, yeah.
Cast because they look good. I'm sure they had to really stretch in terms of acting range to play snobby rich kids.
Yeah.
They get everything they want.
Not really acting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I was acting, Bob. Yeah.
Documentary.
It's a
Just
documentary.
everyone going around banging each other. Like, all right.
They just picked up kids at Burning Man.
Yeah. Summer camp, guys. We're going to the castle. Which one? Eddie's. I want's gay.
We went to Eddie's last time. I want to go to Danielle's castle. Shut up, Ted. No one likes you.
So that's Saltburn.
Saltburn.
Well, that was Dune too, but yeah. Next week, Saltburn.
Yeah. Till next time, Jay.
Till next time, Matt.
Till next time, Jay.
Till next time, Coop.
Till next time, Matt.
Till next time, Jay.